healed my body. It was my third fight in 4 or 5 months, so I was a little burnt out. I was a little worn out, and I wasn't as motivated as I usually was for a fight. So I kind of switched some things up in my training and the rest. I mean, I own my own gym, so I was moving locations and I was building a gym, and then rushing home to like spend time with my kid, and then trying to be a professional fighter and do all of this, like 3 fights back to back to back. So I kind of just wore myself into the ground, and I found out that I was doing a thing called redlining too much. So I was running myself, training too hard, overtraining every day, and it's hard to bounce back from that. So I kind of hired some new people. I brought some new people on board in my camp, and I slowed things down. And during the day, I actually rest. At night, sometimes my kids wake me up. I'll be honest, but I'm still well rested, and now I feel great. I'm very confident.
And finally, for me, you obviously have gotten more rest since then and trained better since then, but you were expecting to fight in March. The Zane fight has been on the books for a while, so how has the extended camp worked out for you?
It's good. I trained all through quarantine, so like I said, I own my own gym, so I can basically do whatever I want. So me and another one of my fighters that had he just recently had a child. I just had my second, and we both kind of followed. We stayed away from everyone else, and we trained together till things kind of cleared up. So I've been training this whole quarantine, staying sharp and doing this. So while other people were taking time off, getting fat, doing things like that, I wasn't doing any of that. I was preparing. I didn't know it would be for him, but I was preparing for someone, and it just happened to be him again.
Ben Allen?
Hi, Nick. So after ending up on the wrong side of a very close split decision last time, one that you thought that you did enough to win, has that those sort of small margins that can influence the way the judges score a fight, has that made you even hungrier to take them out of the equation this time and finish the fight?
I mean, if you look at my record, I usually always finish the fight. I think like 16 wins, I have 13 first-round wins. So if anything, I thought I had like a 10-8 first round last time, but the judges didn't. So I'm just going to kind of just fight smart and technical and good, and not really worry about anything. I'm going to set my traps and try to finish, and then when other things present themselves, I'm going to take them. I'm going to fight like a true professional, calculated, cool, calm, collected. I know Zach's a little spitfire of energy, and he comes forward and he's very aggressive, and I kind of like that. That kind of feeds into my style. So I'm very excited for this.
And like you said before, you've built up a reputation as a bit of a finisher, especially in the grappling department. And your opponent, Zach, he's won 10 of his 14 wins via submission. Do you think it's inevitable this fight's going to hit the floor?
Yeah, I think so. Most fights do. So I think once it hits the ground, I'm very confident that I can stop his takedowns and he can't stop mine. And I've focused a lot. I've had a lot of really high-level wrestlers in on this camp. There wasn't really a lot of places to train this quarantine. A lot of places are closed down, especially colleges and stuff like that. So I took the best wrestlers I could find, and I was like, hey, you guys need a place to train? And I trained with them. So my wrestling is looking really sharp. It's something that I slept on in the past, because like, oh, I'm a wrestler, I'm good, I'll win this. But like, you got to keep the blade sharp. So I've trained with a lot of really, really good wrestlers this camp, and I'm very confident.
Max?
Hi, Nick. You've been in a roller coaster. You were retired in 2015. You fought in LFA. You entered Contender Series. And now you're here in Bellator. Do you feel like this is your home now?
Yeah, Bellator is the best. I love Bellator. I know that's probably what I'm supposed to say, but I'm just so happy with everything they've done for me and the way they treated me, and how they make me feel, that there's really nowhere else I want to fight. I'm with them for the long run till I decide to hang it up for real. I'm Bellator, hopefully, So I really am happy where I am, and everything happens for a reason.
Connor?
Hey, Nick, how you doing?
I'm good.
Obviously, you've been in this game for a while now. You've always bounced back from a loss and have always, kind of risen near the top of whatever promotion you've been in. So at 34, does this feel like the start of maybe one more final run at a major title?
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely, I'm a little older than a lot of other lightweights, but that time I took off to heal myself and fix these injuries and do these things was crucial. So I feel like I set myself back 2.5 years by taking 2.5 years off. So really it's more like I'm like 31-ish, maybe just turned 32. So I don't have as many miles on me as I think. Obviously I have a lot of fights and I've been doing this a long time, but I definitely know that I can hang with the best guys in the world. I've done it in practice. I've trained with these guys that are world ranked and champions, and I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't think that it was a possibility that I could compete with them.
Thanks, Nick.
Jay Anderson.
Hey, Nick, welcome back. I just wanted to follow up on something. You kind of touched on it, really, with taking time off after your last fight and running your own gym. But, with all this time off, one of the factors is if you don't fight, you don't get paid. And that seems like a lot of added pressure as a small business owner as well in the pandemic. What has this experience been like for you?
It sucks that I couldn't operate my business for so long. A lot of my students came through and I had some incentives and some gear packages and private lessons and stuff that people bought. And my students are really like ride or die. I don't teach all the classes, but my staff is amazing and very knowledgeable. And we're back in business now. Obviously, we have some guidelines we have to follow for the everyday people, and we're doing that. And I'm making the best out of the situation for sure. Especially when this all started, my wife just barely found out that she was pregnant. So we had my second son in July, and we've been adapting to that and doing those things. And luckily, she wasn't out of employment. She's a speech pathologist, so she's been able to do all her calls on Zoom, and she kind of held us up a little bit along with my loyal students.
That's good to
also,
hear.
Bellator paid me for that fight, too.
That's awesome to hear.
They paid me my whole purse for that fight, so it's like I got paid, so it kind of actually went a long way to hold me over and support my family. And we got a minivan from it, which is kind of dope.
That's fantastic to hear. Just another one for me. In terms of the teaching, do you feel that being a teacher, that being an instructor in the gym has made you a better fighter?
Yeah, it does make you better. I actually wasn't really teaching this camp at all. One of my other instructors, Roger Denton, really stepped up, and he's been in the game for a very, very long time. And he took over a lot of the classes, very knowledgeable guy, and helped out. And then along with my other coaches, Jeremy Libashevsky and Scott Labrie, over in Springfield, Mass, I kind of was able to make something work between that and then with everything, conditioning and strength training and all that stuff. I have such a good team.
Our last question here comes from the line of Ben Keeley. Go ahead, Ben.
Hi, Nick. One of my favorite things about going on social media these days is when I see someone who reaches out to you and maybe they have a congenital amputation as well, and they just say how they are inspired by you to achieve all they can and be who they can be and not be set by limitations. I'm just wondering, is that the best part of the job? And did you ever imagine you could be in such a position to inspire so many people?
I when I was a kid, the internet wasn't around like that, and there was only one person I'd ever seen in my whole life with one hand, and his name was Jim Abbott. And I had the pleasure of meeting him twice when I was a kid, and I remember what kind of impact that had on me as a child, and how it strengthened me and empowered me. So I try to bring that same energy that he brought me to people that meet me that might find the same thing in me. I didn't start off to prove anything or be anything or try to be some inspirational person. I just am a human being first. I'm my own person. I'm Nick Newell before I'm this one-handed guy, before I'm anything other than myself. And I don't it's not who I am. The one-handed fighter is not who I am. It's just a part of who I am, and it's something that I've accepted and something I'm comfortable with. And I always try to make myself available for people that might not be as comfortable with the way they're born or how they feel. So, and I actually got to meet Jim and talk to him multiple times, and we kind of have a lot of the same outlooks on some things in regards to being born with one hand and handling life. So he's definitely still a role model to me after all these years. So if I could do something like that for someone else, that's amazing. And there's a whole crop of other one-handed fighters out there that are on the come up, man. I have this one kid from Brazil that sends me messages every single day. There's a guy in Lion Fight named Jake Peacock who's an absolute savage. He's one of the best Muay Thai fighters in the world, and he's young. I think he's only like 22. So I might be the first big MMA guy, but I wasn't the first one-handed guy out here doing combat sports. There was Baxter Humby, Jean-Jacques Machado, and after me there'll be guys like Jake Peacock, and I'm just here being myself and doing my thing. I hope that was a good enough answer. I kind of dragged on a little bit, but it's definitely something that is very interesting to me.
That's great. Thanks for the time, Nick. Appreciate it. Good luck the rest of the week.